Hey everyone, it's Aureolin, and today is a little different video. It's going to be kind of story time, and also you're going to be learning a little bit of science at the same time. Woo! So anyway, to get straight to the point, some of you longtime viewers know that I had like a medical scare, a medical episode that I've been dealing with and trying to figure out for months now, and the doctors, I believe, finally figured it out about a few months ago, and I've been on the treatment for it since then, and I'm starting to see some improvement. So I thought I'd go ahead and make a video about what happened and let you guys know that I am finally getting better, so yay! But just to sum it up of what I experienced is about the end of summer last year, so about a year ago, I started getting a lot of chest pain where if I took a deep breath in, my lungs would like burn, or there'd be this sharp pain in it. And I went in and, went to the doctor about it, and they couldn't find anything wrong, so they just sent me away. And then in the middle of November, I made a video about it as my attack explained, but just to sum it up, I was having a lot of massive shoulder pain for quite a while then, and I was doing a lot of my crochet then and everything, and I was trying to fill orders for Christmas, and the pain just flared up so badly, and it spread all the way across my back and then all the way across my chest. My arms went numb, and then basically by the end of it, I was paralyzed from the shoulders down, and I just was lying there in excruciating pain and couldn't move. And when the ambulance came and they asked me if I could get up to get on the gurney, I basically did one of these numbers, like, let me try. Ugh. And then I just was like, nope, can't move. And I couldn't move my body at all. And I had no idea what was going on. I've always been an active person. I used to always run. Just that summer, we would go running for a couple miles at least once a week, and at least once a week we were going for 4 to 6 mile hikes and stuff. So to go from that to not even being able to do simple house chores like sweeping the house, I would be so exhausted that I would fall asleep on the couch afterwards. And just walking down the block, I would have to stop and take a break and sit on a bench and just like catch my breath, just like it was like I couldn't breathe. So I didn't know what was going on, and months and months of testing. Luckily, I had a doctor who kept pursuing it, was like, something's wrong, because you're a healthy young person and this shouldn't be happening. And I was like, yeah, exactly. And I was starting to feel like people thought that it was sort of my anxiety just triggering all these things, and I felt like I was getting brushed off. But luckily my doctor kept pushing, and they kept testing and testing and testing. So many scans, so many chest CTs, chest x-rays. It didn't help that after the military I did have a positive TB test, so they used the special blood TB test 3 times to clarify whether or not it was TB, and they all came back negative. But in the end, they ended up discovering that I have histoplasmosis, which basically, here comes your first science lesson. Histoplasmosis is an infection caused by breathing in spores of a fungus often found in bird and bat droppings. Histoplasmosis is most commonly transmitted when these spores become airborne, often during cleanup or demolition projects, and soil contaminated by bird or bat droppings also can transmit histoplasmosis. And in the United States, histoplasmosis commonly occurs in the Mississippi and Ohio River valleys, though it can occur in other areas too. And I happen to live in the Mississippi River Valley area, so this is actually a very common thing here, and I probably picked this up on one of the hikes like dirt just got kicked in the air and I just happened to and I'm the type of person where if you can catch something, I catch it to like the 10th degree. So I don't know, I was just one of those unlucky things, I think. But it says as it states here, most people with histoplasmosis never develop symptoms and they aren't even aware that they're infected. Like, it's one of those funguses that you could get and just never even know about it because you'll never have any sort of symptoms for it whatsoever. But for some people, primary infants and those with compromised immune systems, or me, histoplasmosis can be serious. Effective treatments are available for even the most severe forms. So thankfully there is there is treatment. I am on medication for this now. Just highlighting a couple of the causes, like I said, here, like the spores are extremely light and float into the air when dirt or other contaminated material is disturbed. So like I said, most likely some dirt just got kicked up. There happened to be histo in it and I breathed it in. And then of course the important thing is histoplasmosis isn't contagious, so it can't spread from person to person. It's just sort of you have to encounter it and contract it, and then either you're not going to know you have it at all or it's going to be bad. So here I have a little map of like where does histoplasma live, and I'm right in the highly endemic area. So this actually, for this area, histoplasmosis is it's quite common. And then I just wanted to show, it gets inhaled and then it could get in your lungs, it can get in your lymph nodes, it can get into your blood, it could do all that stuff, but most of the time you never even know. So there's a couple different types of histoplasmosis, obviously. So the acute or short term is typically mild, rarely leads to complications, as I was saying. And the CDC actually estimates that between 60 to 90% of the people who live in the areas where the fungus is common and they have been exposed. And they probably didn't have any symptoms. So that's how common this is. Like, a lot of people, even if they lived in this area their whole life, you could be like, oh yeah, histoplasmosis, and they won't know what you're talking about because they just never get diagnosed because they never know that they have it. However, there's also the chronic form or long-term histoplasmosis. It occurs far less than the acute form. I'm 1 in a million, guys. In rare cases, it can spread throughout the body. Once histoplasmosis has spread throughout the body, it's life-threatening if it isn't treated. Huzzah! Widespread disease usually occurs in people with impaired immune systems. In areas where the fungus is common, the CDC says that it can occur up to 30% of people with HIV. I don't have HIV or an impaired immune system, so I'm just, So then these are some of the symptoms. Like the symptoms for this can be kind of vague, which is probably why it took them so long to diagnose me for it, despite the fact that I'm kind of in the central area where it should be common, and maybe it's one of those things they probably should have been like, let's just test for it just to see, but they didn't. The fevers and chills kind of came and went. Like, I was getting sick a lot really often. The headaches came and went. But the muscle aches, like my shoulder pain was debilitating. Like, it got to the point where anytime I tried to do any intricate work, my whole arm would go numb. So that one was pretty big. And then I developed the dry cough, where I would be coughing for no reason, and it just felt like I needed to, but and then the chest discomfort, like I talked, where when I would inhale, I'd get sharp pain in my lung. And then apparently, joint pain, which I did have that as well, but I kind of had that before too, so it was hard to pinpoint. And then the big thing is it says signs of chronic histoplasmosis may include weight loss and a cough that brings up blood. The symptoms of chronic histoplasmosis sometimes can mimic those of tuberculosis, which is probably why they kept retesting me for tuberculosis, because I had a positive TB test before. So they kept thinking, oh, it might be this, it might be this. So they just kept testing that, and they weren't, I think they were stuck on complications that come along with histoplasmosis. There's a number of serious complications, even in otherwise healthy people. They include acute respiratory distress syndrome. Histoplasmosis can damage the lungs to the point where the air sacs begin to fill with fluid, and this prevents the efficient air exchange that can deplete oxygen levels in the blood, which is probably part of why I was getting fatigued so quickly and couldn't catch my breath. And then heart problems, inflammation of the pericardium. The sac that surrounds your heart is called pericarditis. I had this. When I went into the ER during my big attack, they found that I had a minor case of pericarditis. Now, granted, pericarditis can be caused by a multitude of things. Like, it could be caused by something as minor as just a virus. And mine wasn't very serious, and I did get it checked later, guys. Don't worry, it is getting better, so it's not getting worse. But like, this is what pericarditis is. It's like that there's a sac that goes around your heart, and fluid fills the sac, and it increases, and it interferes with the heart's ability to pump blood efficiently. So that can also affect, you know, your fatigue. Those were the main things I saw, but also when they did all the chest scans and stuff when I was in the ER, they found a calcification in my chest area, like in front of my lungs, basically. And later I had to have a follow-up to make sure that it wasn't growing, basically, that it wasn't a tumor. So I got it rescanned later, and so I have a calcification in my chest, which is most likely a lymph node that got infected by histoplasmosis, and it calcified and it turned into this hard thing. It is decreasing slightly, they said. So slowly but steadily it is decreasing. But this is about how big it was. Like, this is how big it is from the last time I had a scan. This is sitting right between, like, right in front of my lungs and right by my heart. So this is probably impeding on my circulation a little bit as well. Like I said, since I started the medication, though, it's starting to feel a little bit better. So I had a lot of strange things they kept finding, but then they had no explanation for. Like, once again, having calcifications like this, like if it's a calcified lymph node, lots of things can cause it to do that. So now that they know what I have, this is like how histoplasmosis is treated. For a lot of people, the symptoms of histo will go away without treatment. However, they prescribe a special antifungal medication in severe histoplasmosis in the lungs and chronic histoplasmosis, which is what I had, because it basically was spreading throughout my body and causing complications all over. Like if it's, you know, and it's spread from the lungs and other parts of the body. So intraconazole is actually what they gave me. It's one of the medications they can give you, and that's what they gave me. And depending on the severity of the infection, the course of the treatment ranges from 3 months to a year. And they told me I'm going to be on it for at least 6 months. I'm probably going to have to get more testing done then, and then we'll see if I beat this thing finally. But it's been a long road. It took a really long time to get this diagnosed, and I just was completely depleted. I was fatigued all the time. I was in constant pain. My shoulder was always hurting. I couldn't walk anywhere without becoming exhausted. I mean, it kind of sucked. It was a big down. It was a big bummer. But I tried my best to keep up with my videos, because at least I could do that, because all you gotta do is sit and talk, right? So, you know, even though I was coughing occasionally. But I just want to let you guys know, this is what they found. This is what, you know, everything got figured out, and it's all great. So I'm getting treated, and I have been feeling improvements. I actually went for a couple of walks to try and test my endurance, and I actually made it a couple miles without feeling totally exhausted. So that is like huge step up from what I've been experiencing for the last 9 months. So I'm getting there, guys, but thank you so much for sticking around and watching my description of this, and thanks for caring, basically. If you guys, some of you have been asking about my health, I truly appreciate that, really. I'm getting there and I'm getting better. So thanks so much, you guys, for sticking around and putting up with it. I think that's pretty much all I wanted to say. I just wanted to let you guys know what was going on. It was kind of a complicated process. It was a complicated diagnosis. It was a complicated thing. I had to do research on it even. I wasn't even positive about all of what it was about. But now I do, and now you do. Science, yeah. All right, that's it for this video. Thanks for caring, guys, and I will see you next time. See ya.